Welcome to Aquarius Rising Africa. Second time in a row you're seeing me. Yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed the interview with Asia Rain. That was really cool. In fact, Lynn, she's an ex-Mormon who was trafficked through the Mormon church as a child. And wow, what a fascinating, incredible lady that is as well. So I'm surrounded by a fascinating, intelligent, beautiful woman here this evening. And it's so good to have you back, Lynne Monet. And you guys, Lynn's no stranger to this channel by now. I think this is probably the third or the fourth interview I'm having with you and really enjoying them as well. So hello, Lynne, how are you?
Hello, beautiful Chantelle. Thank you so much for having me back. I really, really am enjoying these, getting to be with you on these, and I was looking forward to this today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really great. And thank you to everyone in the chats again. So good to see you all, the usual suspects. I love it. Keep coming. Anyway, I mean, we've had some seriously interesting conversations, and I love the fact that you are one of these amazingly beautiful, spiritually gifted women. Joanne, you're such a honey. Thank you so much. Joanne Breeze from Australia. Always looking after my channel. Thank you, Joanne. But you know what I was saying, Lynne, is you are just one of these amazingly beautiful, gifted, spiritual women, and that has had so many fascinating experiences in your life. But one of the things you've done, which I always find, you know, and especially speaking with Jerry Marzinski, I had him on. In fact, Jerry I had on Saturday night with the guy they call Anon. I don't know if you know him, but wow, what an incredible story he's had as well. You know, he was basically diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, and he talks through the whole thing where he literally, through the portal, he saw this dark entity come at him, and then it turned into this amazing, beautiful peace and bliss being, which is his higher self type thing. That was just incredible to see as well, and to hear his story. So you were on with Jerry Marzinski the couple of weeks ago already, maybe 2 or 3 months ago already. And that has just been amazing to listen to and hear your story. But one of the things that I find very fascinating is obviously your experiences as a psych nurse in the psych wards, because we know now that the voices in your head, so to speak, are not voices in your head. They really are entities and attachments. And I mean, if you guys have been, I think all of you in the chats listen to Caleb Jade as well. And Caleb Caleb spent 35 years in the arcane, and he's a master mage who will tell how they using soul gems, they extract. Obviously, it's always got to be with permission on sorts the soul out of these people that are generally in psych wards and prisons. Those are the hot spots, right? And they use their souls as batteries, basically, to charge them, to charge other things, right? And then that gives these entities access to the bodies, which is then the voices they hear. And as Jerry says, it's very intelligent, articulate voices. You know, they're not just mumbo jumbo. And the minute you do any kind of spiritual or religious work, apparently they hate Psalm 23, right? He says it's like throwing worms on a hot plate, you know, stuff like that. So I think what we've come to understand is that, and medication really just makes it worse. Although I do agree that there are certain situations where medication can and does work, but it should really be used as a bridge, in my opinion, as a bridge to get people from that place to a healthy place again. But I look forward to hearing about some more of your psych ward stories. So over to you, beautiful lady.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, speaking of the healing also with the crystals that you were talking about, that is a beautiful thing. The one thing that I wanted to make mention, and I'm sure that you'll agree with me on this, is a lot of times when people do come for help, they have certain expectations of what the goal is going to be. And so sometimes when you do all that you can for them to help them to shift their energy, which needs to be shifted in order to be able to disengage with these things and keep them permanently off of you. A lot of times they expect all kinds of like fireworks and big, huge change. And it's not like that. It's more subtle. And sometimes they have a tendency to doubt whether it has worked or not. And then that kind of opens up the door for things to come right back in, because they want you to have that doubt so that they can re-enter. The thing about attachments is that once they're attached, especially if they've been with you for a long time, they've got a good thing going, because anything that they create for you, the job loss, the divorce, the losing your children, the losing your car, the depression, the inability to work, all of those things create a rippling effect that they feed off of like their chocolate. Right. So they try to shift you back into that frame of mind, because of course they don't want to leave. They're creatures of habit, and they want to continue to hang with you if they've got a good thing going. So in addition to any kind of healing, it's very, very important for the person to also do their part, fully do their part. And that is changing the way that they think, not allowing themselves to go into those lower energies of doubt and fear and, oh, why is it always me? And this always happens to me. And I never get that. And I never win this type thing. You've got to be very, very careful, because those messages rebound in the universe and they come back. So, and it also opens up those portals for things to attach. In the case of the psych ward, I had already mentioned before the story about the young lady that you could actually see the attachments on, that had a diagnosis of schizophrenia. Once they were removed, she regained her life. And I also agree with Chantelle on the fact that, yes, there are some things that maybe do need a little bit of medication. However, there are some things that are being medicated that it's making it worse, because it lowers your natural spiritual energy low into an area that it's harder for you to fight off these attacks from these bottom feeders. I call them bottom feeders that kind of linger in that realm. And one other thing too, right now we're going through a shift in energy. So a lot of us are feeling more tired. We're all of a sudden things are opening up, and we might have not been hearing voices before, but all of a sudden we are, because those veils are thin between, and we're meant to be hearing some of these things that might be of a higher source that are guiding us. So it has to determine that is it telling
discernment,
you
right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love, sorry to interrupt you here, but I love what you're saying, because I think it's so true. We must never fall into the trap of believing that everything spiritual is bad. It's not bad, because remember, we live in a planet of duality. So remember, the Luciferians, the Lucies as I call them, can never ever create. They only emulate or steal or whatever it is they do, invert. They love to invert. They love to take these beautiful energy from God, and they will invert that. So yes, and this is when you are sitting with a true Christ in your heart, the true essence of love, God's pure energy. God, I am so often criticized, and have been my whole life, because I was born hearing God's voice. And no one over the years, I was accused of being a child of the devil, and Jesus hated me. And I mean, you can't believe over the years the nonsense I've had to hear. Not once have I ever bought into that, because I have always known the voice that I hear and the essence that guides me is straight from God. And there's not even a question in my being around that. And that's why I often say, some of us, and it doesn't make some of us better than others. I also want to make that very clear. We are all born with gifts and abilities, and some of us run faster than others. Others are more athletic. Others are more physically, aesthetically beautiful, or whatever it might be, right? All of us have something. In my particular situation, I mean, and I always say, I was born, and I was in my mother's womb, and she was maybe 6 or 7 months pregnant with me. And I remember, I have conscious memory of lying in her womb, looking at my fingers, looking at my toes, and they looked fully developed to me. And I thought, and the consciousness was, I got to get out of here. I got shit to do. You know, I have that as clear, and because my fingers and toes were fully developed, and I believe it wasn't a thought, it was more like a consciousness. And I had 3 older sisters, and at 16 months old, I was speaking fluently. I was wide awake. I knew what was going on. I can tell you 3, 4 years old, I knew what was going on in the house. I knew what was going on in my parents' marriage. I knew what was going on. I just have this, I just wanted to be grown up, right? So, and I just wanted to be doing the stuff that I'm doing. And I was held back in many, many ways. And sometimes your little brain is definitely not meant for certain things. So definitely I was held back in many ways as well. But the point I'm really making is that some of us are allowed to use certain tools. We're given permission to use it because we kind of know what we're doing. And I will definitely put my hand up. I've always said to God, show me what I need to see. Show me what I need to hear. I don't want to know anything else. So whatever I'm given access to, I know is what I need to work with and can work with. It's not random, and it's not a million things coming at me all at the same time. So there are many people who are hearing voices, and they're not from the devil or from the Raphaim or the Nephilim or whatever it might be. But that's up to you to figure out. And you will, and if you guys go back again, I'm going to go back to what Caleb Jade, when we were going through the Arbitel of Magic of the Ancients, right? The way that the dark entities will cloak these things is so deceptive. And it's so easy for us to get sucked into these things. And before you know it, boom, you're down the slippery slide. Unless you have the true Christ in your heart, because you will then know the difference. And they tell you that as well. And they will tell you, unless you have Christ in your heart, you're going to fall down. So if you have the true Christ in your heart, you will know who's giving you information. You will know what you're hearing. And I always say the devil's bling is just a little bit too shiny. You know, when you look at true gold, it's not that shiny. It's more like a molten. True gold is a molten gold. Now, I come from a gold country, so I've seen gold plenty of times. And that's what gives you your understanding. And it's true, your discernment as to which direction to take. So, and I mean, sorry, I know I've done this in a bit of a roundabout way, Lynn, but I just wanted to say that just because we're hearing voices or getting audio, or we get gifts in a different way. You know, we are clairvoyant, audiovoyant. So there's different ways. In my case, it's more I sense things. You know, it's more like I smell it. Mm-hmm. I know it. The hair on my neck stands up. I know when something's good and when something's not good. So in that way, I think it's amazing. And more of us now, if we've been doing the work we should be doing on ourselves, we're going to be getting these gifts. Our karma is going to be melting away, and we're not going to be carrying these heavy karmic loads anymore. We're going to be moving into higher vibrations and higher dimensions without having to worry about all of this stuff. Right now, we're like in the bottleneck, and it's up to us to figure out what we need to do with that.
And what she said, everything she said, I totally agree with. And the thing is too, is there are ways to also determine if you're kind of new. And again, there's freedom of choice in there. You can choose to go along with this new vibration elevation that many of us everybody's being offered to go through, but you can choose to go through it or not. However, what also several of the things that Chantelle said were so important. A lot of times too, because and the Christ must be in your heart, must be also in your mind, because the two are connected in order to keep something clear, because there are so many negative. Hear me okay?
Yeah, your sound
Okay.
disappeared for a second, but you're back.
Okay, all right. So many traditional religions have demonized the beauty of the gifts that we are given. They've also demonized other things such as elementals and different things like that for so long, to kind of keep everybody in that herd mentality of moving in one direction. So it's important to listen to your gut and your heart. And if something is talking to you, telling you to do something that you know you're not supposed to do, or that isn't true, then you know that that's not something that you should be listening to. And they can mimic voices. They can sound like your mother. They can sound like your children. They can sound like your next door neighbor and come forth. They can even mimic people that have crossed over. So it's very, very important. And of course, even if they're mimicking, say, a family member, my son recently was sleeping in the middle of the night, about 3 o'clock in the morning. He wakes up. My mother, who has crossed over, is one of his guides. And she was at the bedside with 4 other beings that he did not recognize. And he's like, Grandma, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I've got to go to work in the morning. Why are you waking me up? Because normally she just comes into his dreams. It's non-invasive. And that's another thing. It should be non-invasive. So, and this was kind of invasive. And he's like, so why are you waking me up? You need to go. Come back later. I'm going back to sleep. And as she turned, she had this long reptilian tail, which indicated to my son that this was something mimicking her in order to be able to approach him in a way that he would accept her and invite her in, because they do have to be invited in. So right. In one way or another. And so he realized that it was something trying to deceive him in that moment. Of course, he immediately started praying, and he put on his love light, which love conquers all. It really conquers all. If you're in a situation, a way to always tell whether the spirit speaking to you or not, or the spirit that is approaching you is real, is that you focus on your heart chakra, almost like a sonar with rings coming out, like a submarine sonar, and you envision pink light coming from your heart at that entity, being, or person, and filling the room. And you can even say out loud, love, 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 love. You focus very clearly on it, even if you have to shut your eyes, or just on that thing, and love, love, love. And you envision this echoing of sonar. If it is something of the darkness that is not heavenly, it will run out of the room like there's a bad stench, even if it looks like your mother. If it's your mother's spirit, she's going to engage with it. If she's the real spirit that has crossed over and she's coming back with a loving heart, or an angel, or some other source. And this is a very easy way to determine whether it's, and not only that, your spirit of your mother is not going to mind if you send her love. So, but these other spirits can't take it. They can't stand it. So they will leave your realm and take off, which is what my son did. And it immediately, backed off and left the room. So these are just some little tips to help you with that. And again, love conquers all, and it has to come from your heart chakra. And if ever you're scared or not sure, just sit there and radiate that love out. If you're having a problem with a person at work, as much as you can't stand it, do it. It'll make a change in you. And I was also a little salt trick I'll tell you about at the end. But I agree with everything that Chantelle said, because there are things, especially right now, that are trying to derail people. They're trying to attach to people. They're trying to make them have addictive behavior. They're trying to create havoc in their lives and things like that, just so that they can keep them down in those lower levels. And it's so important, that everybody, have ways to double check things.
And we must always remember, it's what Anonymous said on Jerry's show on Saturday night. He spoke about they get in through like fissions in your psyche, right? So through trauma, and invariably they're going to get in if you've had abuse or trauma as a child. If you've been an addictive, if you had drug addictions, alcohol addictions, whatever it might be, invariably these sorts of things, it creates a split, right? And it's like predators that smell blood. And I mean, you swimming in the ocean and there's sharks around you, and if you cut your leg, you better make sure that you are not swimming when there's sharks around you, because those sharks will smell blood and they'll come for you. That's pretty much how it works. So that's pretty much how it is, which is why it's so important for us to always seek for a more healed space, right? To always seek for healing and love, because when you look at your heart chakra is 5 times more powerful than any of your other chakras. And doesn't that just say everything? Because let's look at, we talk about the heart of the matter, the heart of the situation, the heart of everything. I mean, in Buddhism, the heart is where you should be leading. In Western world, we lead with the head. They always say, well, think with your head, rubbish. When you're in tune with your heart will lead you. I mean, like recently, my son, who's just been offered a massive opportunity in terms of his career. And I was having a conversation with him on Sunday, and he was like telling me this. And I said to him, my boy, what you really have to do is you got to feel with your heart. Because if you feel with your heart and your heart chakra opens up, it means you're happy. Money is not going to buy you your happiness. They might start you with a smaller package because you had decisions to make. They might start you with a smaller package. But if that's what you love and if that's where your passion is, you are going to create 10 times more abundance in that situation than this one that's giving you more now. And I honestly believe that. So if there's a decision we have to make, feel it with your heart. Yes, obviously you've got to have common sense around things as well. But when you feel it with your heart and your heart says, yes, let's do it, then you do it, because that's going to give you the happiness, and the happiness is what radiates. And actually, let me say joy, because there's a difference between joy. Joy is more something that's like that inner fountain. Happiness can be something that can be temporary as well. I'm happy I got a phone call from so-and-so. I'm happy that I got a lift to wherever, whatever the case might be. And it can dissolve. But when you have that inner joy, that fountain of joy just creates more of itself when you access that and when you work from that place. So really, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is your Christ light also. When you are 10 days in utero, there is a synapse in your heart that sparks, and it makes the heart begin to beat. That is the Christ light. That is the soul that comes in. Something else too, I totally agree with Chantelle and everything that she has said. In the United States, well, let me just back up. Heart also has a memory. Everybody thinks that only the brain has memory. Heart also has a memory. And a perfect example of this is there was a girl who had been murdered, terribly murdered, a girl around 11 years old. Her heart was given to another girl that was around the same age for a heart transplant. The girl that received the heart transplant started having memories of the murder and was able to identify the man who murdered the girl whose heart she had. And that's how much memory was in the heart. And this is a true story. You can Google it. It is on there about this girl. She started out with nightmares, and then she started to remember the murder and the act of itself, and she could envision the man's face that murdered her. And that's how they solved the crime, was because of the girl remembering from the heart what had happened through the transplant that she had been given from this girl, this part of this girl that was in her. So the heart does have memory, and definitely, so think from your heart. Your heart really is a brain in itself too. Wow. But yeah, no, wow. We're talking about some good stuff here. Hopefully it'll help a lot of people.
And in fact, that actually came up in one of our conversations again the other day with Caleb, when I was actually saying, when we're looking at organ transplants and stuff like that, there's no doubt in my mind you can literally take on the energy. You do take on the energy of the other person, because I've also heard people that have had like a liver transplant or something like that. Suddenly they crave foods that they never craved before. Suddenly they're doing things that they didn't. And that's why I think it's so important. I mean, Christianity will talk about prayer and, just releasing that in the name of Christ. In other religions, you really just come connect with God and just cleanse that so that that organ becomes yours, right? It's now become part of you. I think it'll always have a little bit of a smidgen of something, right? As well, that belong to the other person. And for me, I will always, if I had to have a heart transplant and have someone else's heart beating in my chest, I'd be so grateful that that person gave me their heart. For me, it would be about gratitude and stuff like that. So I would thank that person through gratitude. Any negativity that was sitting in that heart, I know I could transmute, or for them, transform it back into creative life force because I can. But I would not take on that negativity unless I needed to, for whatever reason. But it would be a conscious thing. So I think that, at the end of the day, we must realize that everything, we need to bring it back into God's alignment, no matter what.
That is so true. And, as you had mentioned too about the trauma creating cracks, I call it cracks in the windshield. Surgeries can cause this too. And people don't realize that when they have a surgery, not only are they cutting into your skin, they're cutting into your energy field. And if they're removing something that was supposed to be there, like they're taking even your appendix out and stuff, the energy for that organ, for lack of a better word, is still in place even after it's gone, which is why people that have had their legs removed can still feel their toes wiggle in the amputated leg. That energetic field is still there. But it's important even after a surgery to do something to reseal your auric field while you're healing, to not have that gap in there, because there are always bottom feeders around looking for an opportunity. And, just be aware of that as well, that you have your prayer and that you have whatever rituals you do. So to take care of them.
I love what you said there, because I got to tell you something, and this related to when I discovered I had breast cancer. And it was like, and I'm going back, gosh, it actually feels like another life already, maybe early 2000s, 20 odd years ago now. And I remember walking into, and I actually made an appointment to see my doctor, and he couldn't see me for a week. And I still said, listen, I said, this is urgent. And she said, I can't fit you in. And as I put the phone down, I thought, there's a reason why I cannot see this person for a week. So just chill. That was the Monday morning. On the Thursday morning, I walked into the lounge, and my partner at the time was sitting in the lounge, and he looked at me, and Dom said to me, you can do this on your own, don't you? I said, yes, I do. He said, well, and he shrugged his shoulders. He went off to work, and I sat on the couch, and I just closed my eyes for a minute, and I went into my body, and I had this vision of taking myself and holding myself like a baby in my arms. And I saw how scared my body was of being cut. I could imagine, I could just see like scars and stitches, and I just recoiled from that. And I made a promise to my body there and then, I would never, ever cut you unless I needed to. I mean, if my child needed a kidney or something like that, I would happily donate a kidney. But do you know that the minute I did that, within 24 hours, the lump went to half its size?
I believe
the
that.
lump in my breast went to half its size. And it took I think it was somewhere between 4 and 6 months for me. And then I immediately after that canceled my appointment with a doctor. And I said, I'm coming back afterwards. I said, I'll come and see you afterwards. And then I did. And then they wanted to take a bath. I said, you don't touch me. You don't touch me. You leave me alone. And he said, this thing, just from feeling it, he said, it's malevolent. I said, you leave all the malevolence alone in my body. I will deal with this in the way I need to. Within 4 to 6 months, and it was so crazy, you know what happened? It would the lump would then get a little bit bigger, and it was the right breast, and that's the masculine side of the body. And at that stage, I got to tell you, I freaking hated men. I was so mad at all of them. I was so angry at males in my life. And I knew, you know, and it had nothing to do with the males. It was them reflecting my unhealed wounds in my body. So this was me having the opportunity to heal myself. And that's always any healing I need to do, I see as an opportunity.
Exactly.
And then every time, then the lump would get bigger, and I would go into it, because I talk to my body. Cells are listening all the time. Your body is the most intelligent vehicle you'll ever possess. And I would go in, and immediately I would see the issue. I would work with it, and then it would get smaller. And eventually, somewhere between 4 and 6 months, I forget, it was gone. Mahala, pelile, opala, all African words we say. So that's how I healed myself, was by understanding that my body is designed to heal itself, and I healed myself. And it was like God showed me. He said, right, Chantelle, you're always saying the body is designed to heal itself. Show me how you do it. There you go. And I did. It was scary. Yeah, it was scary, but it was amazing. And since then, you know, I've worked with so many people that have healed, and I don't heal them. They heal themselves. You know, I show them where to look. Anything is healable in your body. Anything. I don't care what anyone tells me. I've worked with people with lupus, cancer, multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, all these diseases that are incurable according to medical standards. And when you understand the source of your illness, your dis-ease, because illness is really just the body being in dis-ease, right? So it's ill at ease. It's not in balance. So all we do is get the body back into balance. We realize what thoughts, what emotions have created the malalignment, and your body then is healed itself. I don't care what anyone says. You guys can all stand on your head and whistle Dixie, but and tell me I'm not speaking the truth. Well, then I will invite you to try it, but remember this. It's like, why was Yeshua such an incredible healer? For 2 reasons. A, he never ever, well, firstly, the people that were being healed by him believed that healing was available to them. Yes, in those days, they still externalized it, but that was the time of those days, and that's cool, right? For that time then. Now we've changed. We can't externalize it anymore. That's why I say he showed us how to heal ourselves and how to save ourselves. And that's what I'm talking about when I say that. And then secondly, when he was doing healing on someone, he never ever saw them in their illness and in their weakness. He only ever saw them in their full strength. He saw them in their full God-given beauty. And that I've healed many animals. Yes, lots of animals. I'll put them in my hands, and that's what I do. I brought one of my friends died in front of me. Literally, she died in front of me, and I brought her back to life. And using that awareness and that knowledge. And it's amazing and so that's why when we believe that the body is designed to heal itself, and when you understand that the illness or the dis-ease in your body is really something, it's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity to heal. It's an opportunity to expand. Then we heal.
That is so true. It is. Everything that she said is very, very accurate. The thing is that when people get a diagnosis, they all of a sudden own it. And you don't have to own it. People then, if somebody, you've got cancer. Oh, then they go into that fear mode and they go into all of that with it, and it just anchors it in there more. And what Chantelle was saying also, everything from our heart you can heal. There's even a type of breathing that you can do that will reset. If you do it for 3 minutes, it will reset mechanisms in your brain. And it's very, very simple, where you breathe in and then you breathe out slower. So like you would go, and then breathe in through your nose, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then out.
Right. Your breath
like,
is your
like
best.
11. Yes, that is your healing. And if you focus in on your heart while you're doing this, and you're actually in yourself and you're focusing on your heart during this breathing and giving it permission to heal your body, it will do that. And it's so important, because we do have the ability to heal ourselves. However, you also have to do your part. You can't expect just magical things to happen if you're not consistent with it, if you're not willing to put your addiction down, or your, some negative behavior, towards yourself that you're doing. It kind of counteracts it. But if you elevate your energy automatically, even with that breathing. And like I said, 3 minutes is all that it takes. But you also have to then look into your surroundings and make sure that you're clutter free. Make sure that your things are taken care of, as far as that they're clean, so that you're breathing fresh air when you open your windows, so that you're drinking and eating off of clean dishes, those sorts of things like that. That are also important, that you have to walk your talk and do your part as well. But it is all possible to definitely heal yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely. And everything.
And it's so true what you said, to walk your talk and do your part, because, I hear so many people say, okay, well, whatever. I mean, you often hear, like, especially with really religious people, well, hand it over to Jesus. Well, I'm saying, well, if that's the case, why isn't every Christian walking on water? Because that's the first step. That for me is, hand it over. Yes, release it, let it go, hand it over in prayer, for sure. That's step 1. There's 3 more major steps you've got to take. Then you've got to see, hey, what have I done to create this -ease in my body? And yes, when I decide to look at that, then I become a co-creator with God or Christ, because then Christ walks with me and we do it together. So we change, because in the cells of the body, you store the emotions that most of us don't want to look at, emotions that we deny, that we hide away from, right? The body is a storage depot for your emotions, like cement in your cells. It holds you, it weighs you down, right? And then, of course, when you work with the emotions, and then, of course, the next step is the mental or the mindset, it's a symbiotic relationship. So the mind and the body-mind need to start working together. It's like the husband and the wife. Right? Why do so many of us have screwed up relationships? Simple, because we have not met the soulmate within. Why do so many of us have not met our soulmate, so to speak, or have these crappy relationships? Simple, because you've not met your soulmate within. In other words, your IQ and your EQ have not been working together. So now you bring the two together, and then suddenly you start developing this incredible relationship with yourself. You start loving yourself. You start accepting yourself, warts and all. You don't see yourself as having to be this perfect being that can never sin or transgress or do whatever. Hey, I'm a sinner. I'm God's favorite F-bomb child. I own that. You know what I'm saying? So when you work together and you love yourself, warts and all, and because you are created in the image of God, you are created from God's divine love. You are love. And when you realize that God is not there to punish you, God is not there to beat you up around every corner. Religion teaches us that. But when you let that go and you become a true believer of the true word, all of that stuff goes. And then you understand the beauty of who you are and how much you are adored, because you are, no one else is more adored than you by Christ. And
Absolutely.
all of us have that. And then when we get that, the fourth step is taking these 3 steps into the physical. In other words, now your body starts to heal itself. Now your body, because you have now given it God's medicine, and now you start walking a different path. And that's when the energy starts shifting. And that's when it's like the knots unknot. And suddenly you can breathe again. Suddenly your knee just heals itself. Suddenly you wake up one day and your knee's fine again and your arm's fine again. And, you know, all of these things become fine again. And that's the beauty of being human. That's why I say these creatures of the night that have tried to shut us down and block us down and block us down and deny us to see the true essence of who we are and start selling us these vanity things, and you're not beautiful enough, and you've got too much cellulite, and you're not thin enough, and you've got too many wrinkles, and your hair's not right, and your eyebrows are not right, and your nails are not right. I mean, God, do we realize what a trap that is? Gosh, it is such a trap. Go and Botox yourself. I'm like, no, please, just please don't. Such a trap we fall into.
Speaking of which, I had somebody comment on a show when I said I was 61. Oh, well, it's all fillers. No, actually, it's not. I can't afford to go down that rabbit hole. And even if I did, I'd rather do something with my money because it's endless after you start doing it. So just so that everybody knows, here, get a close look. I do have lines and wrinkles. So, you know what I'm saying? But I want to add to also what Chantelle was saying also. And it's also, in addition to what she's saying, you have to realize that how you look at things are a reflection also upon how you feel yourself. So if you're looking at another person critically, a homeless person on the street, oh, they smell, they're dirty, they're this, they're that, they are equal to you. When you're shed your body, your energetic field, they might even be better than you, you know, because they sacrificed their life for that. It's so important that not only are you shift that being critical of yourself, those critical emotions, you also shift it going outward towards other people. And sometimes it's easier to catch yourself doing that first. I mean, to me, so many times, you know, women are like, oh, well, you know, I never find the man in my dreams, but yet then they're dating this abusive alcoholic that's not working, that's taking all of their money. And I say, listen, if you can't love yourself enough to understand that that is their problem and you're making it yours, and you need to love yourself enough to walk away and find what you deserve, then focus on something that you love more than yourself. Your children. If you don't have children, maybe you have a pet. Those are your children too. And you think, how would I feel if my daughter were dating someone or involved with someone like the man that I'm with? And if you say to yourself, I would cry for her, then you need to take your own advice and understand that you're in the wrong place. And sometimes if you look at it that way, because a lot of times, because our emotions as children haven't been honored and things like that, we don't realize that there's a problem with the way that we're emotionally thinking and the way that we're doing things, because that love wasn't there at certain points to validate more positive emotions or more coping skills that were more appropriate or more effective. And so, you know, it's important to, you know, you've got to start with yourself. And if you can't even totally start with just little things like looking at things differently, like, you know, even with the homeless man saying, you know, I'm glad that he's here. You know, you send him love and light, and you keep going. You don't have to go and give him half of your wallet or your purse. A bottle of water might be nice, because the money sometimes goes for other things. They can always use a bottle of water. But, you know, I'm glad he's here. and you get out of that critical, oh, stinky, dirty, smelly, look at that, he's got lice, he's got bugs, you know, you step away from that. I'm glad that he's here, and just let it go with that.
Absolutely. And you know, and you know, even if it's so hard for you to look at yourself in the mirror and say I love you, I think you're cool. Start by just smiling at the girl at the grocery checkout. You know, smile at someone walking past you on the street. Smile at a child. You know, start with little things like that. Start doing something. You know, go to your local pet shelter and take the dogs for walks. Foster an animal if you can.
Absolutely.
You know, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So you start with little things that are doable. You start with things that are doable, and that takes, you know, that gathers momentum.
Exactly.
And you know, absolutely starting a daily morning practice, go for a walk, do some yoga or gym or whatever it is you do, get your body feeling good, because you're in your body, and it's only through this amazing body of yours that you can express the purpose of your spirit. Remember that. And anyone who's been in pain knows pain robs you of your joy. That is for sure. But pain is not a bad thing. It's going to take you to a deeper level of awareness if you allow it to. You can either get stuck and all you can think about is pain, or you can move into that pain. You talk to the pain. You talk to your body. You talk to your mind. You talk to your consciousness. And then it'll quickly guide you to where you need to be. We're so intelligent, you know. We're such intelligent beings. We're such intelligent creatures. And it's beautiful to see that more and more people are realizing that. You know, when I started on this journey as a healer, more than 20 years ago now, I mean, people looked at me like I was bazookas in my head, you know. And I'm going, yes, you can. But there was always those. And I used to get these, like, I used to wake up at like 3 a.m. and I just knew I had to take out my book and write and write. And I just got this information that was just being channeled to me. It was just incredible. And I'd say to my students at the time, guys, you got to test this on me. You got to test this on me. You got to see if this works. And it's true as nuts, boy. We would test on each other. We were each other's guinea pigs. And it was amazing. And that's how it just sort of, you know, you got to realize through your own trial and error, you know, what is working. So it's a beautiful experience.
It is. And, you know, another thing too, also, as Chantelle said, even smiling at somebody, making that effort is like 1,000 points. You know, even on the other side, spiritually or in your heart, because it's a gesture that you have intentionally done. However, make sure that when you're doing it, that you don't do it with expectation, because that flips it and that takes your points away. So, you know, just because you smile at somebody and maybe they, you know, sneer at you, leave that hello and that smile anyway, and just say, oh, that person must be having a bad day. Don't own it. Don't say, oh, that person, did you see that face they made at me? And blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? You don't own it. You just let it stay with that person and say, oh, that person must be having a bad day. Even though they snared at you in that moment, maybe 20 minutes from there, when that love hits them, it could make a big difference in their day. And you may not ever know that, but you will make a big difference in their day. So it's so important to do that. Everything from the heart. Christ-like heart.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, it's amazing because you don't need Botox and things then, you know. It's like you become automatically youthful. You know, you don't have to, you don't, and those things aren't important. It's just that your body automatically becomes ageless, right? It becomes ageless. Yeah.
It does, especially since, you know, people look at it in a different way. And yeah, well, you know, and we were talking originally in the beginning too about some of the psych things as well, and some of the things that I had seen in the psychiatric wards. And so many of those things could be prevented if people were coming from their hearts, such as these attachments that attach to them when people have addictions, for instance. You know, they have to have that invitation, and that, which is the difference between schizophrenia. Those are not invited. Those come on through trauma, the cracks in the windshields. But people that have addiction, it's invited. And they can't come unless it's invited. And then once they attach, they create havoc in that person's life, and the rippling effect into the family, into the neighborhood for that matter. You know, if you've got some drunk at 3 o'clock in the morning screaming obscenities, waking everybody up, or running his car through your living room, you know, that affects the community too. And it happens. But it's just, you know, it's all about, definitely, you know, you can prevent these things. And even if you are one of those people that are actively having that issue, the very first thing to do is to stop, because the alcohol, the drugs, and all of that lower you into that bottom feeding vibration where those things like to attach and live. They can't survive once you elevate your you know, your love and your energy back up. And you can start that with love. And I wanted to mention something too about the salt. A friend of mine recently was telling me about this, and I tried it, and it definitely works. Because in the field like what Chantelle and I are both in and doing, you know, we are literally under constant attack. If it's not spiritually, we have to keep up like this force field, because of course things don't want us to be able to get the word out to help people. And then we also have people that have a tendency to judge, and they want to bear false witness, even though they're not supposed to. So, but they do.
Said that very politely.
Yes, but they do. So if you're one of those people, you might want to think about your words before you express them, and you have a choice of either to watch this or not. Also, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up for those of you who are loving this. Absolutely. But the thing, I just got off my train of thought. I'm sorry. Oh, about this, the salt. Somebody had made, the thing about salt is everything is energy, and salt has its own molecular weight. And we use it for purification. We take baths in it to clean our fields. We line it in front of our doorways to protect us from negativity coming in, or in our window sills. I mean, the priests even use it. So it's something, and it's God-given. It comes from the ocean, and it forms in these perfect little squares, cubes, all by itself. They're perfect. Yeah. So every day, if you know, to help elevate your vibration, because it will molecularly connect with your field and energize it. You take a little bit of salt, just a little, like a pinch, like 10 tiny little grains. You put it in your hand, and you say a prayer over it, whatever prayer it is that you choose for protection. You can use Psalms, you can wing it and do your own thing, whatever religious belief, you know, to put it in there, to elevate your vibration, to heal your body, to protect you from attachments, to protect you from other people's negative thoughts and things that you pass by, and to not only keep your physical body protected, your auric field protected, but your surroundings as well protected. Then you sprinkle it in each of your shoes, and you wear it in your shoes, and you walk around on that all day long. Now, if you're wearing sandals and you have a pocket, you can sprinkle it in your pocket. If you don't have any of those, and if you're naked or something, you can take a little tiny bit and like sprinkle it on a Band-Aid or something, and put the Band-Aid on your skin to just, you know, hold it there, or to put it in the Band-Aid, or if you're sensitive to salt, it can be like in a little bag or something that you can pin to the inside of your shirt or your bra, or whatever. But wear it, and you say that prayer over it, because first of all, you're setting your intention universally. You're channeling into the molecular vibration of the salt what you would like for it to do, because you need to guide things in for the direction that you want, because otherwise it's just a little bit of everything. And if you want to fine tune it for protection, then it's important that you do tell it what to do. Even though you're verbalizing it, it's getting it on a mental level. So even thoughts going into, because we think and our thoughts go out before our verbalization does, and then things are like double that way. But and then you wear it, and just see what happens. Just see what happens. Yeah. You know, See if
That's a great idea.
Yep. See if your addiction isn't affecting you as much. See if all of a sudden something opens up for you that you've been wanting to have open up a long time, and finally the way it's made. It may not come in the way that you expect it to come, which is where the expectation needs to be taken out of it. It may come to you in a completely different way, but the end justifies the means, and you just need to be in a space of gratitude and thankfulness when it happens.
Absolutely. Is there any specific prayer that you say, or is it just really personal to everyone?
It's personal to everyone. I mean, everybody has their beliefs and things, and everybody has particular things that they want. I mean, it's not something that you would use like to ask for a new love or winning the lotto. It's more of a protective thing. Yes. And the thing is with the protective thing, when you are protected, you're operating in your full spiritual, you're engaged with your energy and your whole spiritual being, and you're connected with things that are above and beyond you that can come in and help you. And that's another thing. Don't forget to ask. Don't forget to ask. You have so many guides and angels on the other side that are waiting to help you, but they allow for you to have your freedom of choice. If you ask them, they will help you. However, you must be specific. And I say this, that if you want a sandwich and you want, say, a jam and peanut butter sandwich on whole wheat bread that's toasted, you don't just say, I want a sandwich, because they're going to bring you a sandwich. You're going to be like, well, I didn't want this kind of a sandwich. So then I wanted a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay. So then they bring you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but it's not on the whole wheat bread and it's not toasted. You need to be specific. Order. Right. You need to be specific and have it be reasonable too. You know, you're not going to ask for $1 million or something like that, but you can ask to have the way open for your bills to be covered and to have a little bit extra. And that might come to you faster than something like that, because really the $1 million isn't going to bring you joy anyway. But, no. You know, having enough to cover your things definitely helps.
Do you put it in your windowsills? And, you know, as you're putting it, for example, in your windowsills, you ask for protection. You put it at your front door. You put it in like areas, maybe on your bedside cabinet when you go to sleep at night.
You can circle it. You can circle your bed in it. And like I said, it doesn't have to be like a train of white, just
little sprinkles.
That you wouldn't even notice is enough. Like I said, like 10 or 12 little tiny square cubes in your shoes. It doesn't have to be a lot, so you're going to feel it on your feet and making you feel gritty. But right now, we really do need that protection. We really do need the opportunity to have our energy elevated, and that will help. And like Chantelle said, you can put it around your house, around your room. If you're living in an apartment, or if you're sharing a space with another person and you have your own room, you can put it around your room, the front of your door, all of that, and ask, you know, for the protection. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And it's so true what you say. Be specific. It's like as you go to a restaurant, you're placing an order. You're placing a specific order for what you want. Same thing. Do that. And act as if you already have it. Yes. Pray in gratitude. When you pray, thank you, thank you, thank you. Always be grateful. Not please. Be grateful. Act as if you already have it. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for the love that I receive every day. Thank you for abundance in my life. Thank you that it, you know, for the joy that I always have, whatever it might be. But yeah.
That is so important what she said. Absolutely. Thank you goes so far, not only on our realm, it vibrates into the upper realms as well. That thank you, those two words mean so much spiritually and physically, verbally.
Absolutely.
So that is so true.
Lynne, it's always such a pleasure chatting to you, but I see we're just on an hour again. And but I will definitely, you're a monthly guest, so we shall see you back in a month again with some more awesome talk with you. And just again, thank you to all our beautiful viewers and guests. And I'm so grateful because I now have a little kangaroo that's been named after me.
Oh, wow.
Joanne, that is so cool. I am so happy because Joanne Breeze, who's this incredibly brave Australian survivor, overcomer, she works very much with the joeys, the kangaroos, and has this beautiful animal sanctuary working with the joeys. And just in the earlier chat, she was saying she got a new Pinky and a new baby little kangaroo. And sadly, of course, we know that when the babies come in there, mommies have been somehow had their lives taken from them one way or the other. But the new one is named after me. Yay, Shanti the kangaroo.
Oh, that is so special.
Wait till you see it. I can't wait. Please send me a picture, Joanne. I'm just like so happy. And Joanne and I were always joking. Now I got to teleport. Now I've got to go. I've got to learn how to teleport to Australia. I ain't paying tons of money. I know my brother's coming out from Australia in a few months. That's like $30,000 for me for an air ticket. No, Aussie Air. You're not getting that much money from me. I'm finding a way to teleport.
There you go.
So I'm so grateful. Joanne, thank you so much. Wow, what a privilege. That is just amazing. So I want to again say thank you. Lynne, is there anything you would like to say just in ending off?
I would. I have a website, www.lynnemonet.com. I am in the process of updating it. When I do, Chantelle's book is going to be, she's going to be my first author, my first featured author, where we will have a bio of her and her beautiful book, of which I have. And it's an amazing book. I don't care what age you are. She wrote it for children, but really it is for everybody. You'll be able to reach her through that. And purchase her books and hopefully get some that are signed. We can have, get her ordered some from Amazon and then get those signed and she can send them out. And and the arrangements are between you and her. So you'll contact her for that, but she will be the featured author on there. Also, my show from Gaia, I was on Gaia with George Norrie on a show called Beyond Belief. I filmed it in January, but it just came out last week. My birthday was Friday too, but she came out last week. I'm going to forward that link to Chantelle so that she can post it. And the link that I'm sending, because it is a TV that you have to pay for, but I'm going to send the link that you can get 7 days free of Gaia and watch anything on Gaia that you want. And then you can see my show for free. So I'm going to send that to her sometime today, actually, in my time today, and she'll be able to post that on there for you. In the meantime, I've got books on Amazon too. You know where to find me, www.lynnemonet.com. And I really appreciate very much being here. Thank you so much, Chantelle. I'm looking forward to being here monthly. I think this is a great thing. And I haven't been able to see the chat, so please don't feel ignored. I send love and light to everybody, even those people that may have negative things to say afterwards. I send you love and light too. We're on our own journey.
Are you on a laptop or a phone?
I'm on a phone.
If you have to look, I'm not sure what it's like on StreamYard on a phone, but can you see the top right-hand corner is usually where it says comments. So if you have to just click on.
I can see. Oh, let me try.
And then you see the comments coming through.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, there you go. Thank you. I didn't even notice that was there. That's funny. Well, thank you very much. Now I can see the chat. So anyway, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you lovely people. And of course, beautiful Chantelle. It's my pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you. And I so look forward to having you again. And I was just sitting thinking as well, what I want to do on my Soulful Sundays is I want to maybe get a round table of all these amazing guests and have all us ladies having a chin wag. I will definitely put that together. That's come through for me today. So thank you so much, everybody. God bless. And yes, I can't wait. Shanti the kangaroo.
Oh, Shanti, that's cute. Oh.
A little pinky means it doesn't have hair yet. It's like still hairless. I'm so grateful. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all. And I shall see you. Gosh, I've got a quiet week this week, actually, because Jesse's away this week and Bryce won't be here on Wednesday, but I'll be actually on Wednesday. I'll do something on my own, and then Caleb on Thursday. And remember, on Saturday, we've got the gathering with Caleb on Zoom for the Patreons. And again, if there are those of you who, in fact, I have a very, very generous donor on this program as well. So on my channel, and I'm very grateful to you. You know who you are, who has actually donated some money for Patreons. So for those of you who can't afford a Patreon, let me know and I will put you on for a year. And that will be for 3 of you. So 3 Patreons for 1 year, let me know. Okay. God bless you all. We're very generous and I just appreciate you. Thank you so much. And take care of you guys.
Bye.